facilities, networking, computer maintenance and repairs of laptops and printers. Contacts 677-375865 or 697-124041. King Black Welfare Association is situated at the ground floor of Mother Care Building, Maiwan, Limbe. King Black Welfare Association, empowering you.
Open Gate Theological University is where theology is demystified. We are building a community that grasps the things pertaining to life and godliness. Open Gate Theological University is a fully accredited college with Life College. Our motto is living in the Word of God because the Word of God is life. The Word of God is power and the Word of God is wisdom. Our mission is to empower, teach, and equip ambassadors to impact the world for Christ through kingdom living words. We have undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degrees. We offer leadership and business courses, spiritual warfare, prayer and healing ministry, evangelism and school of ministry. Open Gate University started in 2017 as an international university with branches in places like Cameroon, Gabon and Brazil. We have graduated more than 100 students worldwide. We look forward to having you as a student. Open Gate University is accepting registrations now for 2020 to 2021 academic year. Online registration is now open. We now have 50% scholarship for first-time students. Our emphasis is on practical lessons where you experience preaching one-on-one. Please call us on +1 518-466-9225 or register online at www.opengut.education. We are located in the United States of America.
Phoenix Scandinavian Hotel, Limbe. Bar, restaurant, lodging. There are many hotels around the city of Limbe, but those that provide quality, comfort, and at an affordable price are very few. Phoenix Scandinavian Hotel, Limbe, situated at New Town, Limbe, Downcast Street. Deluxe suites, deluxe rooms, classic conference hall, catering services, and a snack bar restaurant. Well-decorated restaurant and magnificent bar is what you will meet at Phoenix Scandinavian Hotel, Limbe. Phoenix Scandinavian Hotel, Limbe is situated at New Town, Limbe, Downcast Street. Contact 683-700-501, 651-163-734, 233-332-130. At Phoenix Scandinavian Hotel, Limbe, your satisfaction is a #1 priority.
Regional Handicrafts Village, My 4, Limbe, situated opposite the motor park, is a supermarket for locally produced crafts and other products such as fashion designing and textiles, Ankara, paintings, sculpture and graphic designs, wood and fiber works, food crafts and transformation, recycling arts, cosmetics. We are open from Monday to Saturday as from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our services include an esplanade for the organization of marriages, cultural manifestations, as well as festivals. We also let our halls for your meetings, conferences, seminars, as well as other educational talks. The Regional Handicrafts Village, an excellent showcase for the promotion of handicrafts in the Southwest region. Contact us at 233-33-2258 or 233-33-2257. Come and feel the magic of craftsmanship.
Everybody has a bright future. The question is how bright you want yours to be. Just let the world see that each and every ball you shoot into the ball, you do for the love and oneness of mankind. It can always be fun to see all of the world gathered in one place for a wonderful game. We have beautiful differences. I see it all over your faces. Every nation wants to win, but it's kingdom is just one king. If you wanna be king, then you've got to keep interested in whatever you do. Listen to your heart and believe like a fool. For however humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortune of time. Oh my brother, one day you would understand what used to be misunderstood, and you would see that you can if another can. Oh my sister, one day you would understand what used to be misunderstood, and you would see that you can if another can. Oh, one day, and you would see that you can if another can. Oh, one day, and you would see that you.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to Sports Bonanza on CAM1 television. Coming up in this edition of the program, we shall talk about the kickoff date for the Cameroon Professional League that has been slated for the 26th of September 2020. Union Women Sportive of Loom have been relegated into Division 2 following non-payment of the salary of former coach Bonaventure Jonke. Former Bamboutou Director General Jean-Claude Lambeau is in talks over a possible takeover from Avion of CAM, while Inter Milan will play the finals, or will play Sevilla in the finals of the UEFA Europa League, and the semi-finals of the Champions League will be played today as Paris Saint-Germain will take on RB Leipzig. I'm your humble presenter, Kantu Ayamba. Don't you go away, this is Sport Bonanza. Welcome back again to Sport Bonanza on CAM1 television, and remember, we have been joined today in this edition of the program by one of our top sports analysts, Wane Giovanni. He's also a sports analyst with CRTV and a sports writer with kick442.com. Good evening, sports Wane Giovanni, and welcome to the show.
Good evening to you, Akayamba. Good evening to all the televiewers of CAM1 television, Sports Bonanza.
Well, there are so many things going on throughout the National Triangle. We'll talk about local football or home-based football, and we begin with the kickoff of the Cameroon Professional League. The date of the kickoff, that is 26th of September 2020. It was announced by the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Seydou Mbombo Joya. Now, Wane Giovanni, this is the league that has been announced that is going to kick off. But as we speak, up to now, the government has not reopened activities to commence in the country. How far are we sure that that date is going to be respected?
Well, I think the government is gradually reopening activities, but they have not come out clear to say activities are, of course, going to kickstart. But with what's happening, especially at Fikavoli, you know, some players have been called up and will be in camp for a while, and equally, yes, not just Fikavoli, equally some sporting sectors are beginning to show a limelight, especially with what the government might have come to discover that they need to live with this pandemic. And talking about football, the president of the FA, Mr. Seydou Bomojoya, has, of course, said that he has gotten something worth he can discover, he can note as a clearance from the minister to go ahead because of the African Nations Championship that is going to be played in January. So we need our league to resume, and we need our league to resume real fast. Reason why the date has been selected on the 26th of next month, that is September. But selecting a date is a whole different thing from starting the league on that date, as we've seen many times with our league, because after over 4 seasons, it was just last season under the Technical Transitional Committee, the guardians, still the guardians of Mr. Abubakar Alim Konati, that the league commenced on time on a set date, and this time around they have pronounced a date on the 26th of September, and we're just watching to see if it's going to commence on time.
Well, but we have seen several times that when sporting activities like the interquarters competition or other competitions that are taking place in various cities, we see communiques being issued by the divisional officers from that particular subdivision to stop because the government has not yet given the authorization. How can teams train, if at all? Let's say the league is going to start on the 26th of September, and to start on the 26th of September, teams need to have at least 2 months of physical preparation. How is that going to be possible?
Yeah, some teams have made known their dates, which they'll resume general preparations to start the league. I mean, it seems like Young Sports Academy surely will resume next week, the general training camp. But before then, the president of Cameroon's FA, Mr. Seydou Mumundria, through, of course, this is an exclusive I'm releasing on CAM1 television, sent text messages to the club presidents to start preparing with their teams, because he was still, negotiating with stakeholders to see if the league could commence on the time frame they had given, because at first he was not certain it was the ending of September and perhaps the beginning of October.
But Giovanni, before let me not cut you short here. Now, arranging with club presidents to start training, is it not going against the laws of the land, the laws put by the government to make sure the pandemic is being slowed down?
Nobody is following the laws of the land as it stands. I can see forces of law.
So even institutions of the land don't follow the law of the land?
Forces of law and order not putting on face masks. They don't respect social distancing. They are everywhere. Maybe I shouldn't name some of the places you can find them. Cameroon internationals playing interquarters, especially in Yaoundé. Yeah, interquarters currently going on. Finals in Moutengen in other time, still ongoing in Boya. Just started not not long ago. So it's not outrightly disrespecting the law as you put it, but maybe passion-driven. People are missing what they used to do, and to separate Cameroonians from sports and football in particular is very difficult. So maybe the reason why you'd say maybe they are going against the law, but it is for their own good, because telling the club presidents from the FA president's point of view, telling them to go ahead and start preparing, maybe following barrier measures or anything, preparing before time, it would only suit them, because those who had been doing that, they wouldn't face difficulties when the season commences, because we are not far away from starting the new season. So those who have been doing that wouldn't face the difficulties at all.
Now, remember, there is the CAF Champions League, and also the federation is expected to give a second candidate to represent Cameroon in the CAF Confederations Cup. Now, till today, it has not been officially announced which team is going to represent Cameroon alongside PWD of Bamenda in continental assignment. How do these clubs prepare in terms of whether attacking the league or attacking the continental assignment? If we say, let's take, there are some teams that are vying for that same position, the likes of Cotton Sport of Garwa, Colomb of Jan Lobo. Why not start another of Melong and Eding Sport of Leke?
Well, from the recruitments, the handwriting has been all over the world. From the recruitments of Cotton Sports of Garwa, from the recruitments of Star Renown of Melong, you know that it's between the both, but many have gone with Cotton Sports of Garwa to be those who represent the country, to represent Cameroon in the CAF Confed Cup, for obvious reasons, maybe because they are a bigger club amongst all those whom they are competing against. I think eventually Cotton Sports of Garwa will get the nod, because you look at the recruitment phase, and they are still recruiting. They are to get a Slovak who is already in Garwa today, and not just that, they are equally to get a Brazilian. They are to get about 4 foreigners after all their local recruitments of the very finest of players. So I'm tipping Cotton Sports of Garwa will eventually get the nod, not just because of the recruitment, but because of the name Cotton Sports of Garwa. Though Star Renown of Melong equally on their path, and their president, Mr. Jean Quitty, have gone ahead to do recruitment that so many of us who raised the eyebrows, of so many other people, because they have gotten some really good players, and maybe they're thinking they might equally have a chance. But I don't think this is the best way to go about it, especially from the federation's point of view, because they needed to make this known. But who knows, with the way politicking goes around and football in the country, maybe if they would have made known, there would have been so much of in-house fighting. So the reason why
there could have been so many legal challenges against the decision that has been taken by the federation.
The reason why they have decided to stay mute. I mean, the other time I had Mr. Abubakar Alim Konate on radio He was my special guest, and when he was posed this question, he told me that they have not been told anything by the government. Maybe they are still waiting on the Cameroon Cup to be played. I don't know how possible that is for the Cameroon Cup to be played at this point in time with a queue of matches the Cameroon Cup always has. So
are teams even still training, playing for the Cameroon Cup? The likes of options who have qualified from the Southwest region, and the other team, I think it was option that qualified from the Southwest region. Are they even a team again? Most of them have gone for holidays, others have gone to other teams.
That was just a flamboyant way to get off the hook. I mean, these people always have their ways. They do get off the hook when posed such questions. So I think maybe eventually Cotton Sports of Garwa, with everything that has gone on, I think Cotton Sports of Garwa will represent the country with PWG of Bonanza.
Well, let's talk about Union Women's Sportive of Loom that has been relegated into Division 2 as a result of non-payment of the salary of former head coach Jonke Bonaventure. He was being owed 7.7 million francs CFA by the club, and CEO of that club, Pierre Kwemo, vehemently refused paying that money. And then after the issue was taken to the disciplinary committee of the Cameroon Football Federation, it was stated that Union Women's Sportive of Loom should pay a sum of 7.7 million francs to Jonke Bonaventure, and a deadline was given for them to pay, and never respected the deadline, and then the sledgehammer came.
Yeah, with President Pierre Kwemo, what you get is lots of resilience. I mean, we are talking about a president whom his wife won the league for his club in 2019 because he was under suspension. He was serving a year suspension in 2019 when UMS of Loom won the trophy. I mean, but he could still be seen on the field, though he stated that he shouldn't be found around the confines of any football field. So he's one who is resilient, and but now he shot himself in the foot because the 7.7 million he was to give to Mr.
Bonaventure
Jonke. Of course, now you have to spend more in the Elite 2.
In the Elite 2 to come back to the Elite 1.
And when you look at the way he's treated most of the coaches in the top tier, I'm talking about Coach Umaru Sogba, whom he hired and sacked
of course.
A single game after they lost the
Charlemagne Bongo.
Yeah, after they lost the Cameroon Super Cup to Star Renown of Melon. Charlemagne Bongo, as you stated earlier on. And just the way he used some of these coaches. I mean, even Coach Laurent Jam won the
league. The way he left Union Women's Sportive of Loom,
and straight away he parted ways with the club. It's just to say that he doesn't treat actors the best of ways. It's not just
Jedo Nenke is another example. Sacking him and bringing him back, sacking him again, and no.
Yeah, Coach Jedo Nenke is another example, and with the way he's gone about it, it's really going to be, it's terrible for Union Women's Sportive of Loom, and equally terrible for football lovers as well in the nation, because we need such clubs in our ranks in the top tier. Though the president tends to behave that way, you know, but the setup of the club is still one that so many others would emulate. They are always there, title contenders. You know, they always have good players. Jean Emmanuel Chamju, Bertrand Gamalu. A long list of players. I mean, Joel Tuge is going out, making his way out of the club, but he's still a very, very good player, midfielder. Since joining the club in 2015, in fact, he made a statement of leaving the club before this predicaments before the club. So many people should not think that Joel Tuge is running away from his responsibilities. So I think the club as a whole is going to lose so much. You
made mention of the fact that Pierre Kwemo has been a very, very stubborn president after he has been given a stadium ban, and he always gets into the field. Was it a way that Fekafoot decided that, okay, probably because of his stubbornness, he's going to be punished in such a manner where his team is going to be relegated?
I mean, President Pierre Kwemo is not the most stubborn of presidents we have in the Cameroon top tier. We have presidents who are not the talking type, but deep inside they're equally stubborn. In fact, when it comes to players' contracts and so on. In fact, if you hardly hear Pierre Kwemo shouting on the stands, maybe like what Batamak does.
Yeah, or Frank Happy.
Maybe like what Frank Happy does for Union Sportive of Douala. But what he does with his players, He's not the best of treatments with his coaches as well. When now Tabe Ayub Vida of Colom or the Jan Lobo, when he was at the club.
He was at the club. He decided that he's going. He has decided to retire from football. Yeah, and now we see him signing for Colom of Jan Lobo.
Yeah,
was it not an escape route that he took to move away from the hands of from the claws of Pierre Kwemu?
Yeah, maybe only he can tell us about that. But when he was at the club, not once, not twice, he always told me, his personal friend, maybe before they had games, of how they came at times on match days, how they passed the night in hotels that were not so glorious, maybe equally of the expedition. The CAF level wasn't the best, so I think maybe it's time enough for Pierre Kwemo, to have a step back, rethink if he really wants to be in the top tier. Yes, if he really wants to be in the top tier, then we are turning our league professional, because these are some of the actions that will be taken if we want to make the league professional. If you are to hire and sack a coach at will, you are hiring the coach, putting the coach under salaries. If you are sacking the coach, you
have to pay him his
money, because there was a reason you hired the coach in the first place. So I think these are some of the things that we need if we want to go forward the so-called professional championship in Cameroon.
Well, now Union Mouvement Sportif of Loum has been relegated into Division 2. Is the league going to kickstart with 19 teams? That is a $1 million question, because Pekafur has to decide if the league is going to be played with 19 teams or another team would make it to the Elite 1 division from the League 2 championship.
Yeah, I think we are going to play a championship with 19 teams. We are even lucky because Cotton Sports of Gara had the same problem, but fortunately for them, they had to pay they paid the money they owed their former
before
player.
The deadline.
Yeah, before the deadline, and so I think we're going to be playing the championship with 19 teams. I mean, the Elite 2 championship will have another team in her ranks, and I think it's not going to change, because thinking of tweaking it at this point in time.
That means the Elite 2, we are going to have 14 teams now in the Elite 2 championship.
Yes, 14 teams for sure. Because thinking of tweaking it now, it's rather too late, because when you look at the likes of Ofta of Kribi and so many others who think that they need to be in that position, and it will bring so much in-house fighting, here and there. So it's better stays that way, and yeah, by the end of the season we might promote more teams in the Elite 2 to join the teams at the level of the Elite 1 championship.
Well, that was it for Union Sportif Mouvement de Loum. Let's take this commercial break and we shall be back. When we come back, we'll talk about former Bamboutus of Buddha Director General Jean-Claude Lambeau, who has been holding talks with the possible takeover of Avion Camp.
The coronavirus is real. To stay safe, we must follow strict measures. We are determined to assist you through this crisis. Administration, enterprises, family, workers, pupils and students with our video conference, teleconference, telepresence, and high-speed internet services. Enjoy working from home with the fastest internet data network. Together, let's stop COVID-19.
Everybody has a bright future. The question is how bright you want yours to be. Just let the world see. that each and every ball you shoot into the ball, you do for the love and oneness of mankind. It can always be fun to see all of the world gathered in one place for a wonderful game. We have beautiful differences. I see it all over your faces. Every nation wants to win, but it's come is just one king. If you wanna be king, then you've got to keep interested in whatever you do. Listen to your heart and believe like a fool. For however humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortune of time. Oh my brother, one day you would understand what used to be misunderstood, and you would see that you can if another can. Oh my sister, one day you would understand what used to be misunderstood, and you would see that you can if another can. Oh, one day, and you would see that you can if another.
Welcome back and on to Sports Bonanza on CAM1 Television. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter, also on Periscope, CAM1 TV. And Giovanni, let's talk about former Bambutu's Director General Jean-Claude Lambeau, who is in talks over a possible takeover of Avion of CAM. Avion of CAM, they were really very lucky in the last season that just ended, because they were in the relegation zone, and probably they were one of those teams that were not having the best of form prior to the end of the league. But they started the league very well, and then wanted to, at one point in time, they started slipping up right to the bottom of the league, which was very close and very tightly contested. Look at the problem of CAM today. President Jean-Pierre Batamac, he didn't find it easy with the players, also financially, to take care of the team. Jean-Claude Lambeau was the president of Bambutus of Buddha. They enjoyed a very good campaign, despite the fact that they didn't qualify for Africa. But Bambutus of Buddha, their players were well taken care of. When we talk about salaries or the management of the team. Now, Jean-Claude Lambeau, he resigned as the Director General of Bambutus of Buddha. Today, he is in talks of a possible takeover of Avion of CAM. If it happens that he takes off, the takeover is successful, then are we sure that the Avion of CAM that we used to know is going to be a transformed Avion of CAM, or is it going to follow the same pattern that we have been seeing in the past few years?
Yeah, well, just to note here that former Director General of Bambutus Football Club of Buddha, Jean-Claude Lambeau, was a turning point in Bambutus's glorious moments. That was back in 2018. Remember, they ended third in the Elite One Championship and only got relegated because of dues that was owed to Belgian tactician Johan Brule some time ago in 2015. So it was then that Jean-Claude Lambeau made a name for himself, and 2019 took over the post of Director General of the club. Though they ended fourth, maybe what their fans expected more, as we live at Twist, the Bambutus FC.
Yeah, of course.
Buddha fans will always like to be right up there, but they didn't get their wish. They ended fourth in the championship. Result that could still be taken, seeing the way the season went. Though they had the players, they had everything on their side, but they had to end fourth. So, after having said that, Mr. Jean-Claude Lambeau is one who has massive experience when it comes to the management of football. It's not just about his financial might. He has massive experience in the management of football, and looking at the way he himself and President Batama worked hand in glove last season. When they were to play their games in Limbe, they were always together. When Avion played her game, she waited until Bambutus played hers before they all left the stadium together like brothers, like good old brothers. So I think that if he's about taking over Avion Football Club Academy, then it's something good for the club and good for football as well, because the level of competitiveness from Avion's end is going to increase, because we know that Jean-Claude Lambeau is one who, just his name, is going to draw other players, other great players he has worked with formerly to the club. So I think the time is now, the time is right for Avion Football Club Academy, to get onto another gear, because if Mr. Jean-Claude Lambeau handles that club, they wouldn't find themselves in a precarious position, just like they have in the last 2 seasons, battling against relegation. which I wouldn't say I wouldn't blame them at all, because the finances were limited. You know, their president, Mr. Pierre Batama, seemed not to have enough to control his team. Was always talking of subventions to come in from the federation to cater for his players. Now I think if Mr. Jean-Claude Lambeau takes over, it's going to make our championship more competitive, because Avion is going to step up to another level.
Well, Jean-Claude Lambeau is somebody who has been the vice president of New Stars of Douala, and then he was practically the person who masterminded the winning of New Stars of Douala, let's say the victory of New Stars of Douala, winning the Cup of Cameroon against Union Mouvement Sportif of Loum. Today, if he takes over as Avion of Camp, if he takes over as the new owner, or how do I put it, Director General, whatever post or position he's going to hold at Avion of Camp, or as the owner of Avion of Camp, then we have been seeing a lot of players, the likes of Pangal Lobe, the likes of Mejo Aristide, the likes of Mark Ojong, and the host of others. He has been somebody who has, everywhere he goes, most of those top players, they follow him. Are we assured that we are going to be, can we be assured that we are going to be seeing a mass exodus of players from Bambou to Sombuda to Avion of Camp, if at all he moves to Avion of Camp?
Yeah, even before that, there has been a mass exodus from Bambou to Sombuda, from players of Bambou to Sombuda to other clubs, because what they did last season is they signed one-year contracts with 90% of their squad, and that's a problem that they're facing prior to the beginning of this season. You know, since then we've only heard of Renenji, Zenewong, Pange Lobe, and Captain Rostam Mukap extending their contracts of all the other players they had, and now they are only struggling to see if they can extend the contracts of other players, which is something I decry. It's not the best thing for any sound club to do, sign one-year contracts. You know, there's always that danger of, especially with great players, leaving for other clubs when other bigger names come courting. You know, the likes of Narcisse Len left for Cotton Sports of
Garua,
or Raiding Gombe Tame equally left for Cotton Sports of Garua. You know. And the list goes on. So I don't think Mark Ojong is going to stay at the club equally. So I feel like some of the players know him quite well. Some of the players have worked with him formally, and they know his style of management. It's not far from the truth that most of the players are going to like to join him, you know, at the Avion Football Club Academy when he is named president. Of course, that just remains a big if, because
yeah, it's an if.
Yeah, the paperwork is still on the way, and we all know how President Pierre Batama loves his club. But the truth is the financing has not been the best, and if he really loves this club, then he should let go, because Avion Football Club Academy can assert themselves as an Elite One side. In the last 2 seasons, they have always been dangling between relegation. You know, they have been gnashing their teeth in and around that dogfight of relegation. But this time around, if somebody like Mr. Lambeau takes over, you can say that, well, to assert themselves as an Elite One side.
Well, another person that there might be a worry. Let's talk about the coach, the head coach of Bambou to Sombuda, Laurent Jam. He has had a very good working relationship with Jean-Claude Lambeau, who was the president of, who was the vice president of New Stars during his time at New Stars of Douala. He brought him to Bambou to Sombuda when he became the director general of Bambou to Sombuda. They had a very, very good relationship. Now, can we say that Laurent Jam might be the future coach of Avion Camp?
Yes, Coach Laurent Jam is a title-winning coach and has close relationships with the former Director General of Bambou to Sombuda, Mr. Lambeau. But I feel it's really going to be difficult as well, though I'm not.
It's going to depend how many years.
Yes.
How many years did
yes,
Laurent Jam put pen to paper?
With Bambou to Sombuda. But what happens with most coaches is they always get a year's contract and it is extended. Just like what happened with Richard Touah, he got just a couple of months contract with Union Sportif of Douala, and later quizzed on if he was still the coach of the club. He denied, saying that he was no longer the coach of the club.
Of course,
if they wanted to negotiate with him, they'll come knocking again. So it is really going to be difficult, but not totally impossible.
It is really going to be difficult, but not totally impossible. Let's move over and talk about Inter of Milan that will play Sevilla in the UEFA Europa League finals. Inter of Milan qualified after beating Shakhtar Donetsk by 5-0. A brace scored by Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. These two players have been very, very fantastic. Antonio Conte didn't have the best of league, but he managed to lead Inter to second place in the Italian Serie A. No cup, the Serie A or the team Serie A, he didn't win it, and the Italian Cup also was won by Rino Gattuso of Napoli. This is the last saving grace for Inter of Milan to go home with a trophy, and he has been doing a fantastic job. Beating a semi-finalist 5-0. I think it's a statement of intent, Giovanni.
I think the Internazionale fans, as they call them, at the San Siro are trophy hungry. No matter what silverware comes, they just want the trophy now. The UEFA Europa League is a wonderful way to quench that thirst. You know, Inter Milan won the Champions League back in 2010 when, of course, Samuel Eto'o, Diego Milito, Wesley Schneider, and a long list of other good players were there, guided by Jose Mourinho. But with the UEFA Europa League, the last time they won it was in the 90s when Ronaldo
1997.
Yeah, when
Ronaldo Luis Nazário de Lima.
Yeah, was still there. So
they beat Lazio of Rome by 3-0.
They really miss this trophy and want to lay hands on it. And what a wonderful job as well Antonio Conte has done. Aside from the fact that it wins you immunity to the UEFA Champions League, it is a silverware, and the fans, what they need is a silverware. So I think it's a great job that Antonio Conte and his boys have put together, and that's a wonderful way to bounce off next season to continue maybe in the UEFA Champions League. Talking about Sevilla equally, they are not
the second, the finalist, the other finalist is Sevilla Football Club. Yeah. They beat Manchester United by 2-1, and they are the specialists in this competition. They have won this competition more than any other club. 5 times they have won it. So they are not going to be easy pushovers.
And the ones did it 3 times in a row. So it's really going to be difficult. I mean, if there's a club we wouldn't want to face in a Champions League final, they are Sevilla, because just because of the record as you are fighting,
they have in the Europa League
highlighted and you opined. I think they have a great track record in the UEFA Europa League. And you wouldn't fancy yourself against Sevilla when you meet them in the finals. Of course, now Unai Emery is gone. Now most of the players who were there when they did it, when they had that 3 times in a row, they are no longer there. But the name is still there, the identity is still there, the philosophy is still there. And
Julian Lopetegui is coming out with the same, following the same track record of Unai Emery.
Yeah, former coach of Spain national team. He's doing a wonderful job still there. They have a great squad. Lucas Ocampos, one like Banega, who was there when they had that, who was there, who is one of those who have won the trophy before with Sevilla, and he's a great player equally. So I think it's really going to be a cruncher, Inter of Milan against Sevilla, one of those nights in Europe. We just grab a popcorn, watch your screen, and hope the best win. Of course, as a neutral, because as a fan of either side, you'll be biting your hands in despair when the game is ongoing. So I think the stage is set, and it's going to be a wonderful matchup.
Well, the stage is set, and it's going to be a wonderful matchup. Let's talk about the Champions League, Juan Giovanni. We begin with the semi-finalists. But before we get to the semi-finalists are Paris Saint-Germain versus Leipzig. Paris Saint-Germain qualified against Atalanta Bergame by beating Atalanta. They beat Atalanta by 2-1. And the winning goal was scored by Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, Cameroon captain, Indomitable Lions captain Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting. But it was a scary game for Paris Saint-Germain because they had to come from behind to pick up that victory.
Yeah, it was a scary game, and these are the sort of games that give teams momentum from there on. They have learned lots of lessons from that game. Their Champions League campaign flashed before their own very eyes. Had it been the 10 last minutes were not there, then we wouldn't have been talking of Paris Saint-Germain in this competition again. So they now know what they are up against. Credit to Thomas Tuchel, after 25 years, what he's done to the club.
Paris Saint-Germain making it to the semi-final since 19 That was in 1995.
You know, bringing them back to the big time.
When they had the George Weahs.
Yeah, in the big star, you know, equally one of our own, Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, captain of the Indomitable Lions, you know, coming on and bringing them joy in some style. I think they have learned their lessons. Not to underestimate any club, because Leipzig themselves are from a difficult tie, winning against Atletico Madrid.
Yes, we'll talk about Leipzig, but that game, Paris Saint-Germain versus Atalanta, what was the turning point of that game? Or who was the main man? Who do you think was the main man who decided to change the face of the game?
You know, even at our local levels, when I speak with some of the club presidents, I make a statement. I point a finger on the squad depth. You know, this is how we know the big clubs. When you have a squad which everything is not the way you planned, and you can bring on 1, 2, 3 players from the bench, and they provide for you big time, and you go on to win that game, then you are a big club. That is how I of course judge big clubs from an analytical point of view. And Atlanta didn't have that, but Paris Saint-Germain had
the squad in depth.
You know, they brought on Mbappe,
brought Choupo-Moting
because of injury, had to sit it out.
Leandro Paredes
equally.
Julian Draxler.
You know, these are game
top
changers.
class players.
These are top class players, and Choupo-Moting came in, scored. Mbappe equally had a wonderful stint in which he was brought on. Hopefully, he's very fine today to start. You know, so for me, that was the turning point of these clubs. Even when you look at, I know we talk of Bayern Munich, but when you look at the squad depth Bayern Munich has, you know, keeping a player like Philippe Coutinho on the bench, we can come on and score twice and give an assist. That's where you have a win.
Leipzig, Atletico Madrid. Did you see that coming? After Atletico Madrid decided to booted out the champions of Europe, that is Liverpool, right at the Anfield Stadium, to be beaten by Leipzig.
Well, in my years that I've been in this game, I've learned never to underestimate a team. I've learned never to judge how the outcome of the game is going to be. So that is what helps me by now. So I would have had a cardiac arrest or something a long time ago. So I really do not judge team's output before the game. I judge as per what happens 90 minutes in the game. You know, we might always have our favorites. I might say Paris Saint-Germain is going to win this game, maybe Real Madrid is going to win the game. But deep inside, I'm thinking, what if in the 90 minutes they don't come for it? You know, it all happens in the spell of that 90 minutes. So I was shocked, but I didn't wave aside Leipzig in that game, because they are strong contenders. And come to think of it, they have a good coach equally, Jürgen Nagelsmann.
Julian Nagelsmann.
Yeah, former coach of Hoffenheim. Did quite sensationally well with Hoffenheim. You know, Hoffenheim became Champions League regulars because of him, and he's quite a young coach, youngest of coaches at this level. Yeah, and he has done a superb job with the club. You know, looking at what Leipzig has done. You know, in the past 15 years there was no Leipzig, but now Leipzig has come on and get into the semi-finals of
the Champions
League. So I think they've still got a good squad, and I'm not going to weigh them aside in this one equally, because just what they did against Atletico of Madrid may happen in this game against Paris Saint-Germain.
Now the other semi-finalists are FC Bayern Munich, and then that will take on Olympique of Lyon. Olympique of Lyon, they beat Manchester City of Pep Guardiola. Manchester City were all favorites to win this year's Champions League. But what's really happening? What's really going on with Pep Guardiola's team? They have always been booted up by French team. The other time it was AS Monaco with the likes of Radamel Falcao, Mbappe, Benjamin Mendy, Timo Bakayoko and co. And Man City could not go past the quarterfinals of the Champions League under Pep Guardiola. After Lyon defeated Juventus of Turin, they had that momentum going forward to play against Man City.
Well, I'm beginning to see it as a sitting duck, because of all times you know, put your hands in whatsoever flames, that this could have been the moment for Manchester City, you know, maybe to play the finals of a Champions League for their very first time in their history. But once again they came up against French opposition and they lost woefully. I equally thought Pep Guardiola did not, you know, he is a tactical genius. We are there to analyze what he does, but I think the lineup he put up on the day wasn't the best equally. He used a quite different lineup against Real Madrid and came out successfully. Now, so many people will be saying every game comes with its challenges. But, keeping aside some players he did in that game, I really could not understand the reason why. And yes, once more he lost that game 3-1. At one point in time, Manchester City was never convincing to even go ahead and win that game. You know, they had to come back from behind to equalize, and after that they still conceded 2. So I feel like Pep Guardiola and his men will need to still pick up, you know, still pick up the pieces if at all he's the one at the helm next season. Yeah. And still try to go again. Of course, we had this scare of the ban that UEFA stamped on them, but now it's gone. They still play.
They are going to play Champions League again next year.
So it's just to keep their heads up high. And
the biggest game, the biggest shock of the day was the 8-2 spanking of Barcelona by Bayern of Munich. Bayern München came, they saw, and they conquered in grand style. 8-2. The last time Bayern Munich beat Barcelona heavily was when they won the Champions League in 2013. Home and away, 7-0 was the scoreline. This time around in a neutral ground, in a one-legged game, 8-2. With the likes of Lionel Messi on the field, the world best player, the winner of the Ballon d'Or, and the world best player. Well, could you see a team with Messi conceding 8 goals in a single game?
Well, I tell you what I saw on a Marca newspaper the next day. That's a strong Spanish newspaper. That just 4 of those players will be retained. And
is that a possibility for a team to empty a whole squad?
They should do, because they disgrace the colors of FC Barcelona. They disgrace every other thing that Barcelona stood for, and every other Barcelona.
Messi has made it known that he wants to leave the club.
Watching that game on that day, I'm sure I feel sorry for them, because they would have been absolutely gutted, you know. Bayern Munich hammering them 8-2. There's a way you lose a game and your fans still look at themselves and they have some pride. You know, maybe a 2-1 scoreline, maybe a 3-1 scoreline. 2 strong teams, it can happen. But going from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals to 2, of which 1 was even an own goal. Well, then on that side, and so many people will say maybe it's normal in the game, an own goal, but losing a game 8-2 is an absolute disgrace to the squad, to the name, to the coach, Kike Setien, who is now fired, who has now been fired, and I think most of those players will be relieved.
Yeah, Kike Setien has been replaced by Ronald Koeman, and Ronald Koeman will be the next coach of Barcelona Football Club. Time is not on our side. Giovanni, before we go, your last words.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Akayamba. Thanks equally to the crew behind the scenes, to the technicians on board, and there were so many people watching, especially special greetings to Yunyu Germain, a special lab technician who was watching all the way from Tipo. Thank you once more.
Well, it is here we call it quit in today's edition of the program. I'm your humble presenter, Kantwi Ayamba. Wane Giovanni joins me here in this edition of the program, and also behind the techniques, Bole Collins, and also from behind the cameras we have Neswa Primus and Ngole. Stay tuned to all the other programs of CAM1 Television. Until then, tomorrow is another day.
And you will see that you can if another can. Oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, yeah, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, yeah, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, let's open our hearts and let the love of football lead us to change the world. You know it has the power. Da 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 da. You know it has the power. It has the power.